that an okay? Okay. Hello everyone. So today I would like to talk about the processes in the societies that go through transitions and how disillusionment with a transition following a revolution or a drastic change event can lead to backslide, of what I refer to as democratic backslide. And before I venture into this presentation, I do want to forward it by saying that the question, I drew this question not necessarily from previous theory, from previous literature, but rather from my interactions in the policy world and recognition that there is actually very little attention that we pay as a society that gets really excited about transitions in other countries, whether we facilitate them or they happen on their own, but we really don't pay attention to what happens after an agreement is signed or the regime is thrown over and so on. And that has necessary implications for what I'm going to talk about today and how I'm going to talk about it today. In terms of complexity, I'm going to try to put it in a complex context and talk about multiple processes, but also I'm trying to bring in social psychology into policy context, and that can be challenging. So I really welcome your inputs afterwards into what literatures to bring and how to shape it into a more parsimonious approach. So the way societal change is discussed often in policy circles reminds me of a fairy tale, and it goes something like this. People struggle, and then they revolt, and then there is a big celebration when they overthrow a government, and then they live happily ever after. Unless they didn't. But let's say they did live happily, the revolution succeeded and nothing immediate happened. So, for example, let's think about my own backyard, personal backyard. I'm originally from Russia. Russia went through this drastic change when the Soviet Union broke apart. It was a great celebration when Russians and other people from other republics were finally free from the Western perspective, from the oppression of the communist regime, and the world kind of relaxed. And for some of you who follow current politics, Russia is definitely in the democratic backslide at the moment, not unlike some other societies as well. So the change of the regime, I would argue, for this research, there are several premises I build upon, is that the change of the regime is only the beginning of the process. And what comes after, indeed, may be the key for why countries may slide back to authoritarianism. When policies or humanitarian efforts or development efforts focus on transitionary context, they usually focus on macro processes. IMF comes in and says, let's do austerity measures, and they rebuild institutions and so on. And that may very well be important. However, what is definitely overlooked in all this is the experiences of people who live through the transition. It's interesting, it's an interesting contradiction, because we really focus on people who die for the revolution or who participate in the revolution, who drive the revolution, and then we promptly forget about their experiences after the revolution is over. So I would like to bring the focus back on the people and argue that that's important. So my broad research goals, not just necessarily for the particular study I'm going to talk about today, but hopefully for this line of research, is to examine how and when and how and whether people's experiences of transition contribute to democratic backslide, and in general to move forward to a complex understanding of different factors that contribute to the backslide toward authoritarianism. And I start doing this by looking at the case of Tunisia. So many of you may know that Tunisia is what they term the cradle of what they also call Arab Spring, the revolution in Arab Spring. It had sparked the cascading uprisings of the Arab Spring and launched the most successful democratic transition in the Middle East that the Middle East has seen. When Egypt reverted to authoritarianism and Syria and Libya fell into the civil war, Tunisians came together to form a transitionary government, and many participating parties gave up really important positions in order to build what they call Tunisian consensus and compromise. So these are the pictures from the revolution. And these are the pictures from just a year ago, when Tunisians again got to the streets to protest what's happening in their country, to express their disillusionment and dissatisfaction with the transitionary processes. Some of the key grievances are high level of unemployment and corruption and lack of progress on certain freedoms, distrust to the government, and threat of terrorism. Tunisians are generally disillusioned and they have little hope that things will get better. So here on the picture, they say the government declares the war on corruption. And then they're definitely disillusioned with the transition. The main mottos of the revolution were jobs, liberty, and dignity. And as you see, they don't believe those expectations came true. So the research question specifically for this study are, does disillusionment contribute to democratic backslide? And if so, what also contributes to disillusionment? What factors contribute to disillusionment? Some of the key indicators of democratic backslide that we've identified by searching through the literature, not necessarily social psychological literature, in fact, not social psychological literature almost at all, but some of the things that people talk about are wavering support for democracy, negative expectations for the future, and nostalgia for the old regime, and withdrawal from civic participation, so reluctance to vote or participate in society building as it is, and outmigration or brain drain. All of those key indicators, there is very good polling data to suggest that all those key indicators are very present in the Tunisian society. So in general, the approach I followed, I started with the literature review of multiple literatures across disciplines and domains, including just journalistic reporting. I designed an initial model for what I expect, how I expect the different key indicators of backslide of democracy to relate to disillusionment and some other factors that are present in the society. And then I ran this model by a number of experts, both experts on the Tunisian society and Tunisian transition, but also those people who study democratic transitions in other contexts as well. Then revised the model and conducted a survey in Tunisia. So 414 participants from Tunis and surroundings participated in the study. We were very purposeful to survey only youth, but those who were young or of a conscious age, let's say, those who were young participants during the revolution and are still at the age to kind of drive the society forward, so ended up 25, 35 years old, half men, half women. What's striking is really that 41% of the participants of youth, this is a young sample, relatively young sample, are unemployed, which are striking numbers, but very much in line with national polling that we know of. And 67% of participants live in households that struggle. We surveyed people on a variety of measures, but the main ones that we focused on as the outcomes, and just the main focus of the study was on the disillusionment with transition, support for democracy, negative expectations for the future, nostalgia for the old regime, intentions to vote, and desire to move abroad, kind of in line with the key indicators of backslide. Just to give you a basic idea of where people stood in our sample on these different concepts, it looks like they were pretty nostalgic for the old regime, which is, again, pretty alarming for this type of a sample. Many wanted to move abroad. Some, it's about a half point for the desire to vote, quite negative expectations for the future, and quite strong disillusionment with the transition. Just the basic correlations, there is indeed a relationship between disillusionment with the transition and each of the key indicators. So then we fit the model that looked at how disillusionment could predict the key indicators, and based on conversations with the experts in our own thinking, we thought that the way it would work is disillusionment would affect intentions to vote and the behavioral indicators, the behavioral intentions to vote and desire to go abroad, and then more of an attitudinal one, nostalgia, through support for democracy and negative expectations for the future. And that this relationship will continue to stand above and beyond what can be predicted by other factors that are important in that societal context. We conducted factor analysis to explore and confirm the structures of the scales that we used, and used path plus and path analysis to explore the links. So we fitted the model as a whole, but just to focus us on the disillusionment. Disillusionment indeed predicted support for democracy, greater disillusionment related to less support for democracy, and ultimately intentions to vote through that relationship. And then greater disillusionment with transition also related to more negative expectations for the future. And then indirectly, that was the indirect through negative expectations about the future related to intentions to vote and desire to go abroad, all in predicted directions. There was also a partial direct effect remaining there between disillusionment with transition and desire to go abroad. So the more disillusioned people were, the more likely they want to move abroad. Similarly, and for some reason I didn't show it here, but here I did. So we also controlled for prior history, past voting behavior, current civic engagement, participation in political protests. So we tried to be very thorough to isolate those links. And similarly, in the case of nostalgia, so negative expectations for the future turned out not to be linked to nostalgia, but disillusionment indirectly through support for democracy also linked to nostalgia. So the more disillusioned people were, the less likely they were to support democracy, and the more likely they were to miss the old regime, the old times. And the model fit for both of those models were quite strong. Then we also wanted to see what predicts disillusionment in the society, what types of factors predict disillusionment in the society. And we looked at what the Tunisians fought for, which was political freedom, against corruption, respect, dignity, economic improvement. And then we also looked at some of the other factors named in the literature as relevant to disillusionment, such as relative deprivation, perceived security in the country, perceptions of democracy as a chaos. And then challenges as building blocks, we wanted to see potential factors that could kind of serve as a buffer against disillusionment. So if people perceive that whatever challenges they experience at the moment, they're just building blocks toward a better future, we thought that those people might be less likely to experience disillusionment. And again, we looked at some background factors, such as employment situation, family, and others. And again, those links came out in the predicted direction. We looked at each factor, both their participants' perceptions both today and their perceptions of the past. Since we're talking about the transitionary processes, we felt it would be important for us to account for those. So the more people believe that they have political freedom now, the less disillusioned they were, the more respect, the less disillusioned they were. The more they thought the economic situation in the country was better today, the less disillusioned they were. And the more they felt the economic situation in the country was better before, the more disillusioned they were. So all of those factors were relating to disillusionment in very much predicted direction. So conclusions for this study is that dissatisfaction with the transition does seem to contribute to some key indicators of the democratic backslide. And people who are dissatisfied with post-revolutionary transition may be less likely to support democracy and to have more negative expectations about their future, and therefore disengage from the political process, want to move away, and generally miss the good old times. And it's important to pay, we also see from this data that it's important to pay attention to how satisfied people are with the demands of the revolution, whether those came true, as those have an effect, or those are linked to people's experience of disillusionment. Moving forward, definitely we would need to use some more refined measures. We use some of the existing scales, we created some of the new ones, and we used a lot of one-item scales, so that we would need to work further on that. We hope to continue model building and complex model building through review of multidisciplinary literatures to look for additional factors that may explain the effects. Democratic backslide. We would like to extend to other countries and do cross-country analysis and return to the Open Pew Research Center to see whether that would be possible. Use national samples to empower model buildings, and then also examine buffers against backslide. What are the factors, and what types of people are less likely to support backslide toward democracy, and several other questions that hopefully will be part of this program. In terms of implications, this type of research would put emphasis on people's experiences after the transition and not shift them away, but also shed light on those experiences rather than focus on institutions only, and also help understand what to expect and how to communicate about the challenges of the transition. It feels there are many similarities across contexts when countries go through transitions, but we seem to be making the same mistakes over and over and over again, as we don't have a template for what happens. We hope that this work will inform the work of transitionary governments, international agencies that work in transitionary contexts, as well as US agencies that I think hope to make positive difference. We'd like to contribute to that. I welcome your feedback and questions. Thank you very much.